Good day everyone. So today we're going to tackle about the story of the tale of Senuhe. So now the tale of Senuhe is widely considered the masterpiece of ancient Egyptian literature. Yes, it is. So when we say the tale of Senuhe a day everyone, it is considered as the greatest masterpiece of ancient Egyptian literature. It is written in 1875 BCE. And take note, the tale of Senuhe is autobiography. So it is fictional autobiography. So when you say fictional autobiography, it is recounts the life or the real person. And it's made of the story written as if the main character was telling to his own life story. And it focuses the character's feelings and his love for his home country. So now let's proceed to the characters. So first we have Senuhe. So Senuhe, he is the hero and the narrator of the story. He was a high-ranking official and the servant of the royal family. Senuhe, even though he is smart and successful, he is often driven a strange, intense fear that make him run away from his home. So what are those fear of Senuhe? We have irrational, panic, and such. So next we have Amenemhat. So see Amenemhat everyone, he is the king of Egypt who dies as the start of the story, and his death is that event caused Senuhe panic and flee to Egypt. So now next everyone we have Senusret. So Senusret everyone is a new king since namatay man to si Amenemhat, so si Senusret is the new king. He is known for his kind and a good leader. Instead of punishing Senuhe for leaving, he forgive and invite Senuhe to return for his home or to return to his home from Egypt, because we all know that Senuhe is run away from Egypt and because of his panic or trauma of the death of Amenemhat. So next we have the friends of Aferet Jinu. So see Amyonenshe. So Amyonenshe, it is the ruler of the foreign land and who takes Senuhe in, and he treated Senuhe like a family. He gave Senuhe a land to own and his daughter to marry. So now the last is the hero of Rat Jinu. So a powerful local, a strong man, or should we say a fighter, he is the bad guy of the story action scene because he challenged Senuhe to a dangerous duel. So now maka-question mo, kinsa ka ni ang hero sa Rat Jinu? So ang hero sa Rat Jinu is si Senuhe. So ang strong man, walan siya specific name sa Egyptian. So now kaning strong man iyang gihamon or gi-challenge si Senuhe to a dangerous duel. So now afterwards na combat silang doon nag-combat. So now kinsa kay nakadaog sa ilahang combat? Of course, ang nakadaog is si Senuhe. Senuhe defeat the challengers. So in what way man nga na-defeat ni Senuhe ang challenger, which is a strong man, is because of his bow or arrow. Ang arrow is napunta sa throat sa strong man. So it means namatay ang strong man. So that's why Senuhe is ang nakadaog.
Historical era. The Middle Kingdom, specifically the early 12th dynasty, c. 1960 BCE. The story is set around 1960 BCE during the early part of Egypt's 12th dynasty, a time when the country was unified and prosperous after a period of division. Specific trigger. The story begins with the sudden death of Pharaoh Amenemhat I and continues through the reign of his successor, Senusret I. The plot kicks off when Pharaoh Amenemhat I dies unexpectedly, likely in an assassination. This event throws the court into turmoil and leads to the rise of his son Senusret as the new ruler. Duration. The narrative spans several decades following Senuhe from his impulsive flight as a young official to his return as an old man seeking a proper burial. The story unfolds over many years, tracking the life of its main character Senuhe. He follows him as a young court official who flees Egypt out of fear after the pharaoh's death, spends decades building a new life abroad, and then returns as an elder man desperate to be buried in his homeland. Place or geography. Egypt, the residence. Specifically, Itjitawi, the capital. It represents order, safety, and civilization. The walls of the ruler, a defensive line on the eastern border designed to keep out Asiatics. Rik Jinu, or Upper Syria, or Canaan. A foreign land described as a lush Mediterranean landscape with figs, grapes, and olives. While prosperous, it is depicted as a place of exile away from the gods of Egypt. Weather, thirst and heat. During his escape through the desert, the taste of death is described through parched throat and the searing heat of the wilderness. When Senuhe runs away through the desert, it's extremely hot and dry. His throat is dry and the heat is so intense it feels like he might die. Abundance. In Retinu, the weather is implied to be temperate and fertile, more wine than water, symbolizing his physical success despite his spiritual longing. In Retinu, the weather is mild and the land is rich and productive. There's even more wine than water. While he has plenty of good things here, he still feels empty because he's away from home. Tone and mood. Panic and paranoia. The opening is frantic. Senuhe flees not because he is guilty, but out of a visceral fear of the political chaos following the king's assassination. Heroic or epic. In the middle, the tone shifts to one of pride as Senuhe becomes a tribal leading and defeats a local giant in a single combat. Nostalgia and melancholy. The prevailing mood is homesickness. To an Egyptian, the dying abroad was a disaster. The mood is heavy with the desire for a proper Egyptian burial. Grace. The ending is one of relief and royal mercy. Divine kingship. The pharaoh is the sun; without him, the world falls into darkness. Sinuhe's flight is a reaction to the vacuum of power. Class and identity. Sinuhe is a courtier, a high-ranking official. Even in exile, he maintains his status, but he feels the loss of his Egyptianness, symbolized by his beard and heavy foreign clothes. Hospitality versus hostility. The social world of the Near East is depicted as a series of tribal alliances where a man's worth is measured by his skill in battle and his ability to provide for his people.